After nearly 4 years of brutal rule by Pol Pot's Khmer Rouge regime, which was responsible for the deaths of an estimated 1.7 to 2 million people, the nation was invaded by neighboring Vietnam. The Vietnamese army, along with Cambodian defectors, swiftly captured the capital, Phnom Penh, on January 7, 1979, overthrowing the Khmer Rouge. While this ended the nationwide genocide, it did not end the suffering. The country, already shattered, was plunged into further chaos. Remnants of the Khmer Rouge forces fled west towards the Thai border. Continuing a guerrilla war, the country was stalked by a catastrophic famine, a direct result of the Khmer Rouge's disastrous policies. Faced with starvation, continued fighting, and the presence of a foreign occupying army, hundreds of thousands of Cambodians began a desperate trek towards what they believed was their only hope of survival: the border with Thailand. A false dawn at the border. Initially, the Thai government, led by Prime Minister Kriang Chomanan, had a somewhat open-door policy. However, the sheer scale of the exodus quickly overwhelmed the country's resources. By mid-1979, tens of thousands of skeletal Cambodians were crowded into makeshift camps along the border. The Thai government's position began to harden. They viewed the influx as a severe threat to their national security, fearing that Vietnamese forces pursuing the Khmer Rouge might cross into Thailand. Furthermore, they did not recognize the new Vietnamese-backed government in Phnom Penh and were concerned that the refugee camps could become bases for anti-Vietnamese fighters. The economic and social burden was also immense. A decision was made to halt the flow of refugees through a brutal policy of pushback. The operation of Dur Forcible. In early June 1979, the Thai military began a systematic operation to clear the camps. Between 42,000 and 45,000 Cambodian refugees were rounded up, loaded onto buses and trucks, and told they were being taken to a new, better camp. Instead, they were driven north to the Dangrek Mountains, a steep escarpment that forms a natural border between Thailand and Cambodia. The destination was a cliff edge near the ancient and contested Preah Vihear temple. At gunpoint, Thai soldiers forced the thousands of terrified and emaciated men, women and children down the sheer, jungle-covered cliffs. There were no paths. Families were separated in the chaos. Those who hesitated were beaten or shot at. It was a human cascade of misery, a forced march into a land that offered no safety, a valley of death. The area at the bottom of the cliffs was one of the most dangerous places on Earth. It was a no-man's land, heavily seeded with landmines by all factions in the conflict. The refugees were forced directly into these minefields. The horrors that followed were unimaginable. Landmines, thousands, were killed or maimed by explosions as they stumbled through the jungle. The cries of the wounded filled the air for days. Starvation and dehydration. The refugees had been given no food or water for the journey. In the desolate jungle with no resources, many succumbed to starvation and disease. Khmer Rouge predation. Remnants of the Khmer Rouge, who controlled this part of Cambodia, were waiting at the bottom. They robbed the already destitute refugees of their last meager possessions and, in many cases, murdered them or forced them into service. The exact death toll from the forced repatriation is unknown, but it is conservatively estimated that at least 3,000 people died in the immediate aftermath, with thousands more perishing in the following weeks. International outcry and legacy. The Dangrek Mountains tragedy did not go unnoticed. Journalists and aid workers documented the horrific events, leading to a wave of international condemnation. The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, and the United States government vehemently protested the Thai government's actions. Faced with this immense pressure and the realization that the pushback policy was creating a humanitarian catastrophe on its border, the Thai government reversed its policy. In October 1979, they agreed to open their border and, with international assistance, established large, organized holding centers like Khao-I-Dang and Sakayo. This change in policy would ultimately save the lives of hundreds of thousands of Cambodians in the years that followed. While the event is not typically classified as a genocide by legal or historical standards, as the primary intent was repatriation for national security reasons rather than the destruction of a specific people, it is unequivocally remembered as a crime against humanity. It was a man-made disaster, a brutal act of forced repatriation that sent tens of thousands of people, fleeing one of history's worst genocides, directly into a valley of death.